Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuoki Kyoto Wins. Today we are starting on Harada Sanosuke's route. I totally want to say one of my favorite guys every time I talk about one of the guys because I just love them all so much. But yeah, he's definitely no exception. He was the first guy I played in the first game and I really enjoyed him a lot. And I've loved him all this time too. But anyway, let's get started with him. Of course, as usual, we're going to be skipping through all the things we've already read. So yeah, make sure to watch the common route and best to watch the whole playlist in order so you don't miss out on anything. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. And yeah, again, I'll be showing you the choices along the way. So first, attempt to explain my situation. And for the first time, I have to just give up. Oh, screw it. Just go ahead and kill me. I tucked my legs underneath me and sat up as straight and dignified as I could manage.
So, you have anything to say before you die? You said earlier you wanted us to hear you out.
Forget it. He looked surprised by the brevity of my response. I really am saying that. Just get on with it. Earlier, he told me I should accept my death and rest in peace. His mind was already made up. What chance did I really have? Do what you will, just get it over with. I didn't want to die, but if I told them I was really a girl, then they'd certainly ask why I'd been dressing as a man. Then there were no ways I could explain without mentioning my father. Why can't I mention my father? I don't know anything bad about him at this point. The possibility of misspeaking could cause my father and Dr. Matsumoto trouble. That thought alone kept my mouth shut. And I would die for all that, huh?
I like those eyes. Looks like your mind is made.
He smiled and laid his hand on the sword at his hip.
Hold on, Sano. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet.
And I'll be so eager there.
True. Besides, it seems like a waste. We don't meet a girl with that kind of gusto daily.
Huh? Did he just say girl? What? How did you know?
Well, Wait a minute there, Sano. Did you just say girl?
Apparently you wouldn't know one if it was right under your nose.
Well, she may dress like a boy, but she huffs and puffs like a girl. Can't you just tell? What? What do you mean, can't you tell? I mean, pants. She's wearing pants.
That's all it takes for you? Seriously? So if we put a dress on Harada, would you think he's a girl? Well, I guess if you think closely about it, her frame is slender and fragile like a woman's. Give it up, Shin. Toto seemed to shrug it off, moving to pat Nagakura on the shoulder, then he glanced at me. Alright then, how about you tell us why you decided to dress up like a man? Now, time for Mission Impossible. Let's search the compound. And no, I can't. Will I ever say yes to that? Here I again, quietly return to my room. I guess the only time we'll do the other option is when we're on Hijikata's route. Oh, but we get something new here. I needed to go to sleep, but I couldn't manage to keep my eyes closed.
And besides, if you don't have much business, then stop roaming. Return to your room at once.
Hijikata's words clattered back and forth through my mind, my anxiety creeping heavily abound. I can't tell how they actually feel about me staying here within the headquarters. Thoughts of my father lingering hopelessly within the empty spaces of my room, left to contend against the painful reality that I may be killed. Staring into the flickering flame of my bedroom lantern, my despair unfurled deeply, harshly.
Hey, Chizuru, how long are you planning on staying up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get in bed right now. I scrambled to extinguish my lantern, but...
No. I wasn't trying to scold you. Can I come in?
Sure, of course. You know what it means when a man comes to visit a woman's room this late at night. Usually, of course, that's really supposed to be if a woman goes to a man's room, but still. The door slid softly open. Harada stepped inside.
You're up pretty late. Something on your mind?
You, handsome. No, I was just about to fall asleep. Speaking about earlier would be close to a death sentence, so I did my best to avoid the topic. Unfortunately, I must not have been convincing. Since Harada looked into my eyes for a moment, and then gave me a bitter smile.
You look pretty down. Sure something bad didn't happen?
No, not really.
Well, I guess it's probably tough for a girl to live in a house full of guys, huh?
I wouldn't mind, especially if they were all this hot.
I'm not saying I can fix all your problems, but I'm always happy to lend an ear. So come on, tell me what happened.
He sounded so kind and earnest, I felt my heart begin to falter. Harada stared down at me silently for several long moments. Then he seemed to make up his mind and nodded, and began to speak.
All right, we're going out, right now, get ready.
What? Out? You mean out of the room? But I can't.
Come on, don't you want to get some fresh air? Let's go.
He strode out of the room, and I didn't feel like I had any choice but to follow him. I just got yelled at by Hijikata for this. This seemed to be a joke at first, but once we left the compound, Harada showed no sign of stopping. Are you sure this is okay?
No different than being around the compound, right? I mean, if you try and make a break for it, I could just kill you.
Thanks for that reminder. In fact, I do have to say thank you. Thank you for that reminder, again, as if I could ever forget. I see. Thanks. He stumbled and turned to look at me, eyes wide.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I'm not following. I tell you I'll kill you at the drop of a hat, and your response is to thank me?
Well, if we get caught, you're probably going to get in trouble too, right? But you still decided to bring me out here anyway. That's what I'm thanking you for. Were you worried about me? He blinked in surprise, and I saw him swallow.
Yeah, you're right, but...
But?
Man, it's kind of scary to have someone see right through you like that. I thought you were just some kid. Won't make that mistake again.
His face bent into a crooked smile. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry.
Whoa, hold on there. I was just trying to compliment you. You know, in a couple of years, you're going to be a pretty impressive lady.
Well, I'll be here for a couple of years, so you'll be around to see. I couldn't help but blush from his words, but I wasn't comfortable meeting his eyes. We kept walking for a bit, strolling around the outside of the compound.
Anyway, we got pretty lucky. No moon, see? Otherwise, we might have gotten caught, you know?
He looked up at the empty sky before facing me.
You came a long way to Kyoto, so I'd like to show you some of its landmarks, but... I gotta admit, I don't want to get caught out here either. You mind if we call it a night for now?
Sure, that was enough of an adventure for me. I nodded and looked up at the sky. Millions of little diamonds scattered across a black quilt, constellating so many lives together. The sky is so vast, nothing could ever confine it. For a long moment, I felt free. And then we skipped. We were heading back toward the entrance when...
Sano, were you out?
I ducked into the shadows when I heard his voice. Harada casually moved to hide me.
Yeah, went out for a little fresh air. Just getting back from your rounds? Yes, we have received word of strange behavior among the Ronin. Action is likely imminent. It is not safe for you to be out alone. In the future, you would be wise to bring company.
Oh, he had company all right. Not any that would actually be helpful against Ronin, but company nonetheless. With that said, Saito turned and walked off. As far as I could tell, he hadn't been able to see me. I wouldn't put it past him to have noticed.
Phew, that was a close one. You can never be too careful, huh? Let's hurry up before someone else spots us.
Okay. We managed to sneak back into my room without anyone else noticing.
Sorry for grabbing you and hauling you out.
Oh no, thank you for thinking of me. He didn't respond, just looked toward the porch.
And they call Hijikata a demon, and he seems like one, but the truth is, he's really one in a million. He sees a lot more than he lets on, moving only with purpose and extreme dedication. What I'm getting at is that if he's keeping you around, then he has to have a good reason for it.
When he turned and looked into my eyes, his expression was flat and cold.
If you step out of line, I don't have any doubt you'll find out why everyone's scared of him. Not just Hijikata too, that goes for everyone here.
Look, I know! I think of it constantly. You guys don't have to ingrain it in me any more than it already is ingrained.
Including me, my spear is always ready. Just make sure you don't forget that.
I won't, for God's sakes! Okay.
Well, I don't want to keep you up too late, so I'll be heading off.
Good night. He turned with a nod and strode out of my room.
My spear is always ready.
He was certainly scary, but Harada showed me a great deal of kindness in risking the trouble of taking me out, just for me. He even considered me when Saito appeared. He spends a lot of time saying frightening things, but he's very genuine and warm. Ha! If you think he says frightening things, wait till you hang out with Okita. You do this, I'll kill ya. You do that, I'll kill ya. Like I said, that's his way of saying I love you. Takes us a while to figure that out, unfortunately. Harada's support of Hijikata says a lot about the both of them, and maybe I should trust Hijikata. Perhaps it's worth it for me to be a little stronger to face what's ahead of me. This all put my mind at a gentler ease, and I bundled into my warm futon and laid my head to rest. And some skipping. Here we have to decide to join them on the rounds. And here, no, I'm not technically a member of the Shinsengumi. I'm just their mascot. Continue to remain in the compound. Why me? Yamazaki, you should go. Head to Ikeda Inn because that's where my darling is. And of course I'm gonna follow Harada. And here I went to come. And finally, this time I get to go to Kuge Gate. I decided to accompany Harada to Kuge Gate. When we arrived, it was immediately clear that the fight wasn't as decisive as the one at Hamaguri. The Judiciary Commissioner's men who moved to Kuge from Hamaguri were still engaged with a number of Choshu soldiers refusing to yield. Ugh, my mouth does not want to work today.
You should probably stay here, Chizuru. It's going to be pretty dangerous out there.
Before I could respond, he was off, the rest of the Shinsengumi thundering into the battle behind him.
Alright men, let's go.
Harada led the Shinsengumi warriors and dived right into the center of the battlefield.
If you want to get through to the Imperial Estate, you're gonna have to go through us first. Damn it! Is that the Shinsengumi? Damn right it is. If any of you are looking for a quick glorious death, then come at me. Bastard!
Apparently some people are taking him up on that. War cries rose up from both sides, and the battle was joined. This time, however, the force defending the Imperial Estate had the Shinsengumi on their side. The battle did not last long.
Is this the best we can do?
A great moan of pain went up from the soldiers of the Choshu.
Don't let them escape! After them!
The officers of the Judiciary Commissioner shouted to their men, who slowly began to advance. They had scarcely begun to move, however, when the man covering the Choshu escape turned and faced them. A man who deserves a rout and does not have one.
Oh, I hope you feel honored, boys. It looks like I'm going to be playing with you for a bit.
There was a flash of silver, and a sound like the crack of thunder filled the air. The sound rang loudly in my ears, and I saw the man holding a silver barrel with smoke rising from it. A gun? It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was smaller than a normal gun, making it easier to conceal. It was called a handgun.
What's that? Did the sound of my pistol scare you?
He looked pointedly at the remaining officials, with his mouth drawn open in a toothy grin. The reason why people couldn't approach him was because of his aura rather than a fear of the gun. He was clearly outnumbered, but looked no more concerned than if he were facing no enemies at all. It was clear to everyone that he was no normal man.
Well, it sure is nice of you to play with us, but don't you think it's a little unfair if you're the only one with a gun?
Harada? Harada moved a few steps closer to the stranger.
Really? Nah, seems fair to me. Besides, you got that big old pig sticker yourself.
Both men grinned a challenge to one another. Playtime, boys. Almost too fast to see, the point of Harada's spear swept through the air toward the stranger, who leaned out of the way at the last moment.
Well, you seem to be spoiling for a fight. What kind of man charges someone with a gun? Using a toy to keep others at a distance is pathetic for any real warrior. Wouldn't you agree?
The stranger grinned.
I'm Kyo Shiranui, or Mr. Shiranui to you. You may introduce yourself as well. I'm Sanosuke Harada, captain of the Shinsengumi's 10th Division.
They seemed to see one another not so much as enemies, but as rivals. The air between them was tense, but I felt no evil intent from either man. They're playing. What should I do? Get rid of Shiranui? That's an option? Sure, no problem for me. Let me use my feminine demon wiles. Oh, we actually do have to choose to get rid of Shiranui. Let's see exactly how we do that. I actually can't remember. It's been so long since I recorded Demon of the Fleeting Blossom.
Chizuru, I told you to stay back.
Did you really think I'd listen? If I was honest with myself, I was terrified. This strange man was very dangerous, but Harada saw something in him, so perhaps he would hear me out. I didn't let Harada finish. Mr. Shiranui, right? Could you leave now? Really? That's how I'm gonna get rid of him? Would you mind leaving? We have some business to handle here.
Oh, this just started becoming fun for me. Stay out of my way.
Yes, but can't you let this all go?
Huh? What the hell, kid? If you're trying to screw with me, I'll end you right here.
I felt the cold bead of sweat roll down my spine. This, I thought, must be how a frog feels when it catches the eye of a snake. But I opened my mouth. There was no going back. Well, all of the Choshu soldiers ran away.
Oops, is that so?
Oh. So, that's all I needed to do was just point that out. Your friends are all gone, you might as well leave. Although he hadn't said anything, he'd clearly been serving as a sort of rear guard for the Choshu during their retreat. Now that they're gone, I don't think there's really any reason for you to fight. Except for the fun. His eyebrows went up, and he looked at me more closely with a shy hint of perplexion. Shy? I would never see anything shy about Shiranui. Our job is to protect the Imperial Estate. If you still insist on drawing your gun, Shiranui's expression still looked warped, but he let out an exasperated sigh.
Screw it.
He put his gun away and he scratched his head.
You got balls, kid. I'll give you that. I'm feeling real good about meeting new people today. Don't let this go to your head, though. Next time I won't go easy on you or Harada here.
Harada moved himself between me and Shiranui.
Fine by me. I've already got plenty of friends, but I could use a good enemy. Let's just save the fun for later, shall we?
I'm surprised he's not smiling saying that, but I guess he's concerned about me.
Maybe this time, but I'm not the kind of guy who enjoys the anticipation, if you know what I mean.
And with a raucous laugh, he was gone. Harada followed the direction Shiranui went for a few hundred feet, then returned once he was sure the man had actually disappeared.
Well, hope to see you around.
Harada gave me a short tap on the head.
Hey, don't be too crazy. You worry me.
He hadn't said much, but those few words were enough to let me know that he cared about me. I'm sorry. I mumbled. Harada looked at me for a moment, and his eyes thinned.
No, I think you did the right thing. After all, none of our guys got hurt, right? Besides, the commander's orders were to fight any Choshu who showed up, and not track them down. So, thanks.
I made things easier on ya. Okay. Harada looked toward the direction they ran. He looked a little sad.
If they keep running, they might not make it.
What?
The Choshu guys. There's no way in hell they can just walk on back to Choshu. I'm sure it's going to be tough for them.
I was initially confused by his statement, but then I realized they'll be running through enemy territory, and they might never make it home.
Well, that's war, right? There's nothing we could do about it anyway.
Why would you want to help your enemy?
Oh, I've got a feeling we haven't seen the last of that Shiranui guy.
I don't know why, but I kind of had the same hunch. So, if you see him again, would you fight him? Harada was one of the captains of the Shinsengumi. So long as Shiranui was allied with the Choshu, there was no doubt they were forever enemies, unless the Choshu ended up allying with the Shinsengumi.
He did manage to dodge my spear. I guess I'll be a challenging opponent. Still, my job's to fight, and that's what I'll do.
Harada. There was no mistaking the resolve in his voice. I was sure that the man called Shiranui would no doubt prove a dangerous foe, but Harada's smile put me at ease, even just for a while. With the battle at Kuge Gate finally at an end, the men who remained began to clean up. I helped as best I could, moving rubble and tending to the wounded, glad that the battle was finally over. Oh, and now we can skip some more. And here we ask Kondo to train us so we can watch over everyone while he's gone. Where I return to my room first off. And then go outside. And new choice here, we all wish for the same thing. I silently shook my head. I don't think that's asking for too much. We all wish for the same thing. It was something I truly meant. Harada stood silently, watching the leaves dance around us, and turned to me.
Thanks. You're really nice, you know that?
And here we will stay to watch the Shinsengumi do battle with the really hot demons. This time, I didn't move. And have faith in Harada. I have faith in you.
Alright, leave it to me.
Once again, yes please. And again, they're killing me. It's none of my business. And my deepest concern at this moment is their interest in me. And what's on my mind most is the notice board. This time I feel strange again. Time for some new exposition to remind us exactly where we are. April 1867. Oh, actually, I think it's time for one of the Zuisoroku scenes. By now, I'd welcomed a few winters since coming to Kyoto, which, unlike Edo, was prone to snowy days and freezing nights. However, compared to my first experience with winter in Kyoto, it seemed like I had finally become accustomed to it, taking it with aplomb. Winter was coming to an end, and now the bright side of spring began to bloom around the city. Phew! I paused to wipe the sweat off my forehead and took a moment to survey the hallway I had just finished mopping. It was nice to have more space, but it made cleaning the headquarters that much harder.
Yukimura, what are you doing?
Oh, hello. Sitting in my room is so boring, so I thought I'd come out here and clean the hallway.
Oh dear, that hardly seems fair. You're not even a soldier, but you're cleaning up after them.
It's fine, really. You've been taking care of me for months now, but I haven't done anything for you. Kondo smiled, his kind eyes crinkling at the corners. Then he seemed to remember something, and his expression turned serious.
Right, yes. I've asked Dr. Matsumoto to look into Koto's disappearance and his whereabouts, but...
Oh, good. Has he found anything out?
He's gotten in touch with all the loyalist Western doctors, but it seems none of them know any more than we do. If he's contacted them all and still turned out nothing...
Kondo left the words hanging in the air, and his face scrunched like he tasted something unpleasant. As I looked at Kondo, I recalled a conversation I had in the past. Maybe it's really true that my father's in the West. He seemed to notice my expression had darkened and began to speak again.
Well, even if he is collaborating with the nationalists, we still can't know what his true intentions are. It's entirely possible he's being threatened or otherwise coerced into doing work he finds repugnant. And besides, his knowledge of the Furious has already proven valuable to us. I promise I will do everything within my power to find him. Of course, we have no intention of killing him.
He sounded honest, but it wasn't that easy to simply forget my concerns. I still have a lot of cleaning to do, sorry. I couldn't bear to stay there and talk about my father, so I excused myself and left. Afterwards, I couldn't focus on searching for my father, and depressing days continued for a few days.
Oh, hey, perfect timing. I wanted to ask you something, Chizuru.
Oh, what is it?
Do you know a girl named Sen? Saito seems to think you do.
Why did that come up? Sen was a girl I had met a short while ago, whom I helped in a surprise encounter. Saito would know since he was present at the time. Since then, I would chat briefly with her, or greet her if I bumped into her during our rounds. She was one of the very few female acquaintances I'd met in my time in Kyoto. So I do happen to know Sen. Did something happen to her?
Huh? Well, I ran into her on my rounds today. She said she wanted to talk to you. I know they won't let you out alone, so just give me a second. Gotta take off my blues first. I must leave. I have been assigned the night shift today.
Oh, okay. They nodded to one another and then headed off in different directions. What did Sen want to talk with me about, I wondered. In a few moments, Harada returned, and we left the compound and entered Kyoto. Chizuru! I turned to see her waving at me from a short distance away. Hi, Sen. Long time no see. I had a chance encounter with some of the warriors earlier, and I asked after you. I had to know if you were all right. Really? I'd been under the impression that she had something to discuss, but from the way she was talking, it sounded as though she had only inquired as to my condition. I looked at Harada, who coughed quietly and looked away.
She said she wanted to talk to you.
His voice was a low mumble.
Not intended for her to hear?
I wasn't sure if Sen had heard him or not. Oh, what do you say we have some tea just over there, Chizuru? They have the most delicious odango. It was the tea house we'd visited together before. She was correct about the quality of the odango, but I glanced up at Harada.
Why don't you two go on ahead? I'm sure you've got, girl stuff to talk about. I'll just go grab a cup of tea somewhere.
Thanks, then I will take you up on your offer, Sen. Excellent, shall we? We shall. Sen and I made our way into the tea house as Harada wandered off. Ah, Sen is so cute. So, how have you been, Chizuru? I imagine living with all those men can be difficult. Well, they're nice eye candy. It's pretty distracting. If anything is troubling you, please, never hesitate to tell me. Oh, well, I had only seen her a handful of times since coming to Kyoto, but she knows that I'm a girl, and she treats me like one, so I can't thank Sen enough for that. I really appreciated it. Actually, I wanted to ask you, how did you know I was a girl the first time we met? What? Oh, well, I just knew. I mean, we're both women after all. Oh, really? Huh. Face it, Chizuru, your disguise sucks. I didn't really get it, but then again, it wasn't like I'd been in a situation where identifying disguised women was required. I hoped I might ask you a few questions. I apologize if I seem blunt, but how old are you, Chizuru? Where are you from? I think I told you that last time, but as I began to talk, I felt myself begin to open up to her. I told her I was born in Edo, and my family name was Yukimura. It was just my father and me, and he ran a Western clinic. We talked about the fashionable kimonos and accessories that were popular in Edo, as well as all the foods and sweets that came from the shops. It was so fun to speak with another young girl around my age about, well, nothing really. The Shinsengumi's reputation certainly isn't pleasant, but it seems some of them are rather nice. Some of them? Huh? She nodded pointedly toward Harada, who we could see standing a short distance away. Looking as hot as ever? He was leaning against a post, his sharp eyes constantly surveying the area. There was something graceful about his profile. I couldn't look away. Sen leaned over and whispered in my ear. I didn't think I would actually get to see you, but when I told him that I knew you, he said something very interesting. I believe it was, she's been real down in the dumps lately. You think you could hang with her and talk about fun stuff? I think it might cheer her up. Really? Did he really ask her all that? If so, he was much more perceptive than I'd given him credit for. And the idea that he had done it just for me Made me feel warm inside.
What's going on? You guys done talking?
He seemed to have noticed we were looking at him. Yes. I scrambled to my feet. And I should be off as well. I have other business to which I must attend. Okay, thanks for everything. You are quite welcome, although I've hardly done anything worth being thanked for. And you, young man, thank you as well. Good day. With a final polite bow to either of us, she turned and walked off with dainty, ladylike steps. I still didn't actually know anything about Sen, but talking with her had left me feeling a great deal better.
Well, looks like you're all done. So you want to head back to the compound, Chizuru?
Sure. Oh, he's so sweet.
Dang it. It's almost dinner time. Time sure flies, huh? I think they might be short a few hands, so you think you might be able to help out with the cooking? I feel bad giving you all these chores, though.
He started off toward his room. Oh, wait!
Huh? Something wrong?
I don't want to part from you yet. I wanted to tell him. Did I really look that unhappy? I'm going to expose Sen. Thanks for taking me out to talk to Sen today. But did I really look that unhappy?
Huh?
She told me what you said. That you asked her to cheer me up since I looked down. If I didn't know better, I would have sworn Harada blushed. Oh.
Oh man, really? Can't trust anyone to keep a secret, I guess.
I'm sorry if I was worrying you. I thought I was hiding it pretty well, but... I looked down at the floor, embarrassed, but then I felt one of his hands pat the top of my head.
Come on, there's no way you can hide that. Anybody can see how hard this is for you.
Is that because I'm still just a kid?
Huh? Well, you're not an adult.
Aww. He said it as a joke, but it still wasn't the answer I'd hoped for.
Oh, does it bother you? Being a little immature isn't always a bad thing, you know.
When you look at me like that, it is.
A little bit of vulnerability and innocence always makes a woman much hotter.
Oh, okay, well that works. I'm not sure how I feel about that. He let out a laugh.
Look, there's no point in trying to keep everything bottled up. Just accept who you are. That's the mature thing to do.
He patted me softly on the head and stepped into his room and shut the door. Later that night, I sat on the balcony and gazed up at the moon as I replayed the events of the day again in my head. Harada had definitely improved my mood. There was still a great deal for me to worry about, but sulking and self-pity would get me nowhere. It wasn't a sure thing that my father had left for the West, so for now I must keep my head up. I was useless as any kind of soldier, so rather than worrying the men, I must learn to listen to them and help them in other ways, just as Harada had done for me. And finally that scene is over and I can stop the video because I let that go way, way too long when I was like, this scene's gonna be over soon, right? It's not that long. I remember it's not that long. And we're on to chapter 4. Man, we already did the first 4 chapters in the first video. Darn it. Harada, why is your route so short in this one? And of course we'll probably have some forwarding to, yeah, I'll let it go ahead and forward while I do my outro here. Hope to see you in the next video or some of my other ones. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye everybody.